What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to Decode, another episode. Thanks to all the subscribers, all of you watching. I really appreciate it when you hit that like and you subscribe. We're getting there with lots of decoding news and things that I've learned, so it motivates me to continue the journey of decoding. I will definitely have more areas to decode, more topics. Trust me, it's not going to be all connections to 9/11. These are my first decodes, ladies and gentlemen. 405 the movie, Decode 144, that song, that heavy metal song that I picked up on just researching 2000, the year 2000, years 2001. It was completely random. I keep repeating it, but this is all the information I've gathered. I wanted to share it in these notes, okay? So let's get the show on the road. So we have here part 3, Fresh Squeeze Rosy Red OJ. So we come into the second to last part, the Rosy Red OJ, the bittersweet truth. The saga continues. In the earlier part, we went to the King and the Pope. I spoke about the connection of the film to the 4th and 5th card of the tarot, the Emperor and the Hierophant, meaning the King and the Pope. Okay, if you look at those depictions, and I made an interesting connection to the 9 of Cups also, so you can check that out when you get a chance. Now, I'm not saying that all the tarot has to do here with 9/11 or conspiracy theory. These are my interpretations, okay? So let's play here a little bit of the movie. I'll speed it up so I can make this shorter.
Shaping up to be a rough commute out there today. Watch for an accident on the 101 near Sherman Way. And we're just getting word that the 405 southbound has been shut down completely. Looks like some sort of police activity's got it cleared for a 2-mile stretch from the 118 all the way up to Victory. As soon as we get more information, we'll let you know. But in the meantime, we'll get you moving another 40 minutes to your favorite hits on Decode.
So I'm just showing little parts so you could get a sense of what I was talking about the film and how to make these connections. It's kind of like a little bit of a comedy, of course. It's kind of funny actually, but I think the filmmakers or the people behind the production, maybe the people given, I guess, the resources to make this film, had something in mind, because it's unbelievable how it connects to 9/11. And you could go check out the movie itself. I'm going to continue with the decode. It's 405. You can find it anywhere on YouTube, okay? Let's continue. So from the tarot, I get 9/11 again in the tarot, the Hermit and the Judge, which you see here. The Hermit being the ninth card in the tarot, and the 11th card being the card of Justice. Okay, so this was actually the date. This is where I pulled it from September 11th. Okay, you got the Hermit, the 9th card in the Major Arcana, reference to the Seal of Solomon. I'll get another reference, as beloved, so below, in the tarot meaning. To find the answers when on the journey you look back and find that no one is behind you. The Hermit, the Merlin, the Wizard on a solitary journey. Part of the 3 Magi, another powerful meaning. And I'm not going to go into detail, but if you want to check it out, the first magician is the magician, the first Magi is the magician, the first card of the tarot, the 5th, the Hierophant, which I explained in part 2, and the 9th being the Hermit. So these 2 came up right away in the decodes, the 5 coming from the 405, the 9 being from the date. Okay, so if you want to check that out, on the earlier video I explained the King and the Pope. This is actually the Pope, okay, and the details of the connections. Okay, so let's continue looking at 9/11 in the tarot, the Hermit and the Judge. Cuts away falsehood, balanced judgment, karmic law. So together the event through the cards explode in meaning to the viewer. These are the thoughts exposed, the way to the path, and the way of the light bearers, the cold-blooded super predators. It reflects their dissension, their blood contracts, the karmic release, or rather their karmic cleansing by telling the truth in advance. the keys released from the papas. Okay, so I explained that. That's what the significance of the Hierophant, the papas. Okay, the Pope. It reflects their dissension. Okay, we explained that. The keys to the portals to the gates of the 11, the 2 pillars, the towers. Look within, the justice is here. The face is not one of violence or aggression, but one of balance and harmony. The papas twisted the words, the numbers, through the technology by perverting the calendar, using to appoint the date that planned the death planned date. But the light through the lamp of the hermit is shining for the individual, and the answers for everything is found within yourself. Was this a calling for you, the viewer, or me, the decoder, the hermit, to make an internal determination? But the connection in this movie, the hermit and the Lady of Justice, the movie we saw on live and replay after replay shows you. So I'm referring to September 11th like a movie. We saw it over and over and over again. The hermit might be, this is my interpretation, guys, don't get mad at me, as the actor Bin Laden right there, using the lantern through the caves. Look at him in the ancient tarot, the beard, the robes, and the lantern he used to supposedly move through the caves while hiding. The card even shows you the mountainous region where that group of those supposed quote-unquote bad guys in the movie resided. The 11, the Lady of Justice, the US with swords and scales, became blind to justice and chose greed. The corporation played the soul of the citizen. They played us to ingrain the horrors of the hermits driving planes through the pillars, right? And who else was a player in this movie? We'll continue. The Naked Gun predicated driving planes through the pillars. And who else was this player, this Naked Gun that I'm making a reference to right here? O.J. Simpson. I'm talking about the movie The Naked Gun. He made an appearance in Gematria. O.J. Simpson is 1019, which breaks down right there to 911. Just move around the numbers. I thought that was odd. Move the digits, flip the numbers if you want. Have fun with this. Something that I learned later in decoding. And what highway did OJ drive during the famous chase? The 405, the same highway that this plane fell from the sky. It made a crash landing on the 405, just like it did with OJ, okay? The Juice rode on a Bronco on the 405, that famous white Bronco. That's the car, the Ford. That was a big brand name for trucks back then. I don't know if it still is. I know they got a lot of Escalades, Escapades, but I haven't seen on many Broncos. But anyway, the O.J. Simpson, the slow speed chase, that's the date right there. On June 17th, 1994, started on the 405. Listen to this. Went on to the 55, which I know that's a strong number, to 901. You get that 901 west, then backed up onto the 405 again. So you started from the 405, ended up on the 55 to the 901, back to the 405, these interstates, which I thought was very, very interesting. Okay, and it gets deeper now. 1968 Rose Bowl, the USC 9-1. They were 9-1 versus Indiana 9-1. Also, the USC Trojans defeated the Indiana Hoosiers. So OJ was part of this team. He was the Rose Bowl player of the game. He was the tailback, okay? So he got named for this game. So we'll find out later that the Rose has a very significant part of this decode. So in their 9th year under head coach John McKay, the Trojans compiled a 9-1 record. O.J. Simpson, the USB, going back to that before I forget, 9-1 record. Just like the date, just like how you see here, the 9-1, the 9-1 again. OJ played for 11 seasons. O.J. Simpson, the player of the game, the Trojan in the preview to the big movie. The Trojan. He was a Trojan. I thought that was interesting. I didn't look deeper into it because I didn't want to make this too long, because I still have another part to go, the last part. Excuse me. So the Juice rode, that was his nickname back then. The Juice rode on a white Bronco. Look at this beautiful horse. Isn't that so funny that it looks just like the death card right there, the white horse. And what do we deal with? Death on that day. I thought it was so funny how you can make these connections. The death card, the messenger of death riding the pale horse. Look at these pale horses. The card of transformation and new beginnings, the ending. So I'm giving you the meaning of the true tarot or what it means. It doesn't mean that if you open up the tarot, it's going to be, oh no, connected to 9/11. No, it's going to be connected to this mass shooting. It's just ways to depict what went on. I just found it funny that looking up the numbers of these tarot, I found these connections, okay? Continuing, June 17, 1994, you get that 69999 or the 9999 or 6666. That was from the Rose Bowl year, the 1968. You also get that same number, that same connection, the 999 right here, or flipped over 6666. Okay, 68 matching the year of the Rose Bowl and the date of the OJ chase. So what do all these numbers have to do with 9/11? The match is non-negotiable, and the 9s and 4 plus 5 from 405. Okay, the movie title and the interstate highway the plane landed on, and the tie with OJ and that chase that he had from the police. And how is there a tie to the number 9 and the number of the month of September, the tower event? Do you want more proof? Then here we go. Alpha Omega in Gematria 191 and 22 Jeep, the brand Jeep, because the driver was driving a Jeep that day, equals also in Gematria 22. 11 is the master builder, so I got the 11 from these two numbers here. In the Gematria, you should get the 11 and the 22. So that's what I picked up recently, learning that the 11 is the master builder, the master destroyer, the 22. So we can make that connection. The statement of God in the Bible, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last. As above, so below. Even the Bible is written in the study of scientists, which people don't know. Atheists and the faithful may come to the same truth. Every living principle abides by this natural law. The regeneration found, just like the 8, the snake eating itself, which I explained in early videos. I'll give you a little snippet, but you gotta watch that 8, the snake eating itself, having to do with the staircase and the towers, okay? So we get the 4th and 5th planet right here from the movie 405. 4th is the planet Mars, the 5th planet being Jupiter, okay? And what is Mars? Look at this guy chopping off this guy's head. Where did I get this from? Mars, early 18th century illustration of Mars. Guys, this is not something I spent hours trying to research. I found this directly on Wikipedia. You could do the same. He was second in importance only to Jupiter and Saturn, speaking of them as gods and the importance of mythology, due to the Mars being the most prominent of the military gods worshipped by the Roman legions. Mars orbits the sun in 687 days, spending about 57.25 days in each sign of the zodiac. It is also the first planet that orbits outside of Earth's orbit. Let's continue. The Emperor being the 4th card. And what is the Emperor doing right here? Mars illustration wearing the crown just like the tarot. The 4th card in tarot linking to the president in office of the tower event, as explained in part 2, the king and the pope. The king looking like the Mars symbology on the right. Funny, both have the same red dress and the crown. So the king being the enforcer of the laws, fiercely killing those who disobey. Similarly, in history, you saw the king played by Bush and the Mars tying to war, and him shutting up people and many disappearances after that. So that's funny that these two cards, or not these two cards, this card and the depiction, the art depiction of Mars, look, it looks like Arabic writing somehow. It's an ancient, probably depiction, illustration, has to do with Mars right there. And they're both wearing the same clothes. So tying to war, and so the numbers of the past connect to the future. So who was the Pope or the Papa as the father in movie? In 9/11 right here, you had the Hierophant. And I found this hilarious. In Jupiter's depiction, the illustration for Jupiter as the god, if you want to say that, you'd have the same depiction, right? The crown, another crown here, the red dress, on a throne, These are different, I'll explain later, but it's hilarious. These connections, I don't know. it could scare a lot of people off because this is deep, guys. Look at these connections. From this tarot, I jumped to this, to Jupiter. Didn't know anything about mythology, about gods or the planets. So this is a depiction of Jupiter. Jupiter enthroned with the symbols of Pisces, which you see right here, and Sagittarius at his feet right here. That's the symbol of the archer. According to some tropical astrologers, the current astrological age is the age of Pisces. So we are entering into Aquarius from Pisces. Okay, Sagittarius is the archer, the learned healer whose higher intelligence forms a bridge between earth and heaven. So you get that symbology again, as above, so below. So you see the Pope having a foothold on Piscean age. That's my depiction. That's what I thought of right away. The Pope having a foothold on the Piscean or Piscean age. So funny that it's right there. Not letting the channels of the new area of Aquarius, the age of information, of knowledge, the water bearing, pouring, the water symbolizing the wisdom, right? From the age of the Aquarius. So they're holding back on us, on this information. But soon, or soon for those who are already awakened, we're gonna see a lot of strange things happening. This information is very important. You could connect this to your own life, to your family members, to what's gonna maybe happen in the future. A lot of people make predictions off of this, to many, many things, but it's gonna open up your eyes, and that's what I wanted you to do. Don't get spooked. And using the archer to be a medium, as above, so below philosophy, as God, as human. The Jupiter might also give the all-seeing form and eye image on the planet, which relates to the Father being all-seeing and all-knowing. Again, the depiction, I get that. Well, we get that from here. In this one, you can't really see the eye. Well, right there, you can actually see the eye in Jupiter. Again, the depiction looks like the Papas or the Pope right here on both sides. And like I said, this is the tarot cards. This is only a depiction of Jupiter. I didn't know that this was connected like this. We might even make the conclusion of Jupiter being the father, Roman god Jupiter, the king of the gods. Isn't the father the king of kings? God? Aren't the popes of all time pretending to be rulers of the kings? The Vatican is not what you think. The modus operandi is not your salvation. That's not what they're interested in, okay? Proof is right there in your eyes. So these ties are super important and confirm the connections. It's like finding the one who ordered the hit in a mafia movie, or finding the killer in a mystery horror, at least for me. Jupiter takes 11.9 years to orbit the sun. I thought that was hilarious. We're dealing with 9/11 again. Continuing. So you get that 687, the 798 from right here, which I should have shown earlier. So sorry about that. Right here, we get from the miles of the car, the Jeep that the driver drove through the 405. This is how many miles was on the car. So 2 and 5, you get the 7, the 3 and 6 is the 9, and the 8 stays an 8. So that's where I got that from here. And it looks just like the 687 days for Mars. And right here, the 24 looks like the symbol of Jupiter. So another Jupiter connection. The planet Jupiter is the king of all the other planets, a giant in size. Some astronomers believe that it plays an important protecting role in using the massive gravity to capture or expel from the solar system many comets and asteroids that would otherwise threaten Earth and the inner planets. Jupiter takes 11.9 years. We said that. Okay, so we got that connection, the 798. So playing around again with the miles. Yeah, 5 and 5 and the 14 equals 555. The driver in Gematria, which I'm referring to the driver in the movie, to the Jeep from this movie, and also from this movie that we saw live. Also, funny how it is that we see these movies live. We saw this movie live and we saw this movie live. What I mean, if you can't see it, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, so playing around the connections of the 55 in Gematria. So you get the driver equals 55 in Gematria. I got the 555 from the miles of the car, and angels equals also 55. which is funny, the only roles in the movie was the driver and the lady, the old lady that flips the guy at the end. Sorry to spoil you, watch the movie. The driver and the angel. I call her Angel because her name was Angela Burns, the old woman who flipped the driver. Watch part 1, the reptilian and the angel, and see that decode for more. So we see the importance of using the 5 fingers, also the 4, because 4 fingers are folded down to make the symbol curse, right? You fold that finger down, the other finger down, 1 stays up, the 4, the 5, again the 405. You get this just punching in the numbers of the miles. You also get the 24. Okay, another deep connection right here. Mars, we went over that. Mars orbits the sun in 687 days, 798. That's Mars, the planet right there. And we get 687 days. Just, it looks exactly alike, guys, to the 798 of this. The mileage. And MPH equals 8 and 44. 798, which I thought was hilarious. The Suicide Squad. And separately, scientific terrorism also equals 798 in Gematria. Wow. 798 equals from the miles in well, not in Gematria, but it equals these numbers in the miles, and we get 798, the Suicide Squad. Scientific terrorism. Guys, remember the movie? We all saw it. I mean, almost every little single part of this movie had to deal with this. Please watch it, comment, because I know I'm not going crazy, okay? My family thinks that I'm crazy, but I know I'm not. So again, another 88 reference right here, because I mentioned in Decode 144, the matching 8, and the A being the serpents eating themselves, okay? And the staircase, very, very deep connection to the staircase. I don't know if you knew it, but watch Decode 144, you'll find out. That's a decode that I made on this channel, my first decode. So Bruce Brannett, it was a producer of the film. You get that BB, right? You get the, but going back right here, 26, you get that 8, and the 8 from here, the 8 from here, right? The 2, 6, 2 plus 6, right? 8. And then you get the 5 and the 3, 8. And the remaining 8, the triple 8, Bruce Brannett. Just looking at the initials of the letter BB, kind of looks like 88. So that's why I put this up there. Another deep connection, just like the 8, sorry. So tying the snakes and the connection to the towers, the staircase and the numbers of the pyramids, and their stairway to the stars, okay, that 144 that I explained, okay. So interesting that the name Bruce Brannett, the filmmaker, 4-5, like I said, BB looks like the 2 8s, once again affirming my theory and connecting once again 88 to what we're looking at here. And I decided to look at the tower, since we're dealing with towers in the words, towers in the event, right? I'll just show it for reference in case we forget. This is a tower, a monolith, right? I just started to, I pulled it up. What number is it? The 1 and the 6. Turn the 6 upside down. You get the 9-1 reference. A117, which is the flight from, so that was an A117 flight. So that's where I saw that connection there, the 9-1. So in this A117, 190 right there, it equals in Gematria 405, which is the film's title spelled out. 1106 right there, flip the numbers, 911. That's all in Gematria. Some people may say, contradict me in the comments, maybe you shouldn't flip the numbers. I did because I thought it was a connection again, once again, to the event. The 16 card representing the towers in the tarot, exactly a replica of the event. What happened here? So we're continuing with Roger That, the last part 4. I wanted to thank you so much for being here, for tuning in. Bless you. I hope you have like a wonderful week, wonderful day, wonderful everything. Because these times that we're living in now, it's time to learn these things. No wonder they were hiding this forever. Shout out to the wolves out there. You know who you are. Special shout out to Jordan Logan, Bird Dog, Magic Crypto Millions, Decode. I mean, this Decode is gonna take over the world. I don't care what you say. If you don't know it, you're gonna have to want to learn it. It's gonna take over the world. So thank you very much. Shout out to y'all. Peace. Take care of yourselves, okay? And I love y'all.